Once a Chinese general said, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Hello and Jai Mata Di. I am Shubham Bangari and I have sailed as a deck cadet and as a third officer on board Maersk ships. I'm here to build an atmosphere where we can learn. It's not just that you are learning, but I'll also learn a lot of things from you. We'll be studying a lot of shipping things, maritime things that are useful for you to know when you go on board ships. So the first thing that we'll be studying is draft, the draft marks. How do you read the draft mark? You might know about draft, what a draft is, but the practical thing of reading a draft is what is required. You just cannot say on board if they ask what is the draft of the vessel. You cannot define them that okay, the draft of the vessel is distance between waterline and the keel. No, you have to know how to read the draft. So here I am. I'll be telling you initially basics of what a draft is. I'll just talk a little bit about draft and then I'll talk why the draft is used. You might know what is draft, but why the draft is important, and then we'll go to the studying the reading aspects of the draft. Okay, so you all know what a draft is. I don't have to put much of efforts into it to tell you what a draft is. A draft is a vertical distance between the waterline and the keel of the vessel. Between the waterline and the keel of the vessel, it's the vertical distance that is known as the draft. So this thing is not new to you. And why we take the draft? Because it is critical for stability of the vessel, safety of the vessel, cargo handling and whatnot. You might have seen that they talk a lot about draft while cargo calculation, stability. You might have studied in your pre-sea trading that they might have told you to solve question and they might have given you draft. So from there you can find out why draft, where you have an idea why draft is important for ships. When you come to a port, the chief mate asks you, okay, get me the forward and aft draft. And when you depart from the port, the chief mate asks you, get me the forward and aft draft. There's a specific reason for that. The first reason is for cargo calculation. You, with the help of the draft, you know, okay, how much cargo you have on board ships. Second thing is for stability purposes. Stability purpose, too much of technical things. With the help of a draft, we can calculate a lot of things which tells that our vessel is stable or not. Like the GM and all. Draft is actually used in a lot of places. Third thing is navigation purposes. You know what is your ship's draft. So now you know that what is the maximum depth your vessel can sail into. For example, if your vessel is having a draft of 10 meters, you know that your vessel cannot go to a depth of 8 meters or 7 meters, because if your vessel of 10 meter draft goes into a depth of 7 to 8 meters, you'll get aground. So you know your draft, so you know your safety limits. With that, with the help of the draft, you find out the safety contour, safety depth, all these things, which is posted near the ECDIS. All the calculation is done by the second mate, the safety contour, safety depth, all and shallow contour. All of these things is calculated by second officer, and he has entered into the ECDIS, and he'll place it in such a way, enter it in the ECDIS, and your chart will get acquainted according to the data it has been provided. So I just told what ship's draft is and why it is important. So the next thing is where all drafts are. To my knowledge, 6 places. In the forward of the vessel, in the aft of the vessel, in midship, and it's on both the sides. So 3 on starboard side, 3 on the port side. Okay, so 3 on the starboard side, 3 on the port side. So when chief mate comes in and tells you to read a draft, you go down, you go to forward, you take down the draft. Okay, this is the forward draft, and then you go to the aft, you take down the aft draft. It could be any way, it could be port side or starboard side. So the location bow, which is the stem of the vessel, forward, midship, stern, which is also known as the aft, and both port and starboard side. So now understanding draft mark. So this is somewhat an image which talks about how the place where you'll read the draft. This is, I think, this is the midship of the ship. This is the waterline. This is somewhere 8.05 meters. This is the draft of the vessel. So I'll tell you how I came to that. This is 8.05 meters. We'll talk about it. So reading the draft step by step. Okay. So now comes the main part of this video. The reason why we are here, to know how to read a draft. Let me take you to this. Okay. For example, let's take 5 meters, and then there would be 2, there would be 4, there would be 6, and there would be 8, and then there would be 6. This is M. This is M. Okay. So this is your vessels. You can call it forward or you could call it aft, whichever way you're comfortable. So let us consider that the water is somewhere over here. Somewhere over here. Sorry, before that I'll let you know that the height of this thing, you see the numbers is of 10 centimeters, and the distance between the number is also 10 centimeters. Getting me? The height is of 10 centimeters and the distance between these two is also 10 centimeters. So if, for example, the water is at this level, I took it at this level, what will you term it? This would be 5.2 meters of the draft. This is 5.2 meters of the draft. But for example, if the water is somewhere over here, this point, this will not be 5.2. This will be 5.3 meters. Getting me? This is 5.2. This is 5.3. As I told you that the distance between these 2 points, the upper and the lower point, is 10 centimeters. So obviously, if this is 5.2, you add 10 centimeters to it, you'll get 5.3. But if water is somewhere over here, this would be 5.25 meters. I hope this is looking at 5, right? So this is 5.25 meters. So this is the draft of the vessel. This is 5.2. The bottom one, the top one is 5.3, and the mid one is 5.25. For example, if water is somewhere over here, so this would be 5.35. Now this comes with experience. You cannot come to this proficiency that from the very first day you will be like, okay, this is 5.2. You just have to make some idea. Because you know water is not like a scale. It's not stay straight. It will keep on jumping like this and this and this. So you have to watch it for 2 to 3 times, and then you have to come to this place where you like, okay, you observe, you take an average. Okay, I see the water is constantly hitting at this point. Sometimes it is going above it, sometimes it is going below it, but on an average it is coming to this point. So the draft of the vessel is 5.35. That's a basic number. So I told you how to read a draft. If the waterline is somewhere over here, you will call it as 5.8 meters, and if it is over here, you will call it as 5.9 meters. I hope you're getting it. And if it is somewhere in the middle, it is 5.85 meters. And if, for example, the water is somewhere over here, it is 5 meters, and over this place, it won't be 5.5, but it would be 5.05 meters. Every numbering, every unit that is being used on ship is in metric tons. That means in meters. Everything is in meters. Okay, so this is reading of the draft. How you read, I hope you have an idea of it, that how you go through the draft marks, where the drafts are, and what is the height of each marking, which is 10 centimeter. Distance between each marking is 10 centimeters. So once If chief mate tells you, okay, my friend, we are at the port, I need the drafts, forward and aft draft. All you have to do, go down, observe the bow of the vessel, observe 2-3 times where the water is constantly coming, take an average and find out, okay, chief, the draft is somewhere around 5.25 meters, 5.25 meters. Go aft, do the same, get a number. Chief, the draft is 6 meters. Generally, the ships have aft draft more, forward draft less. It would be generally like forward draft is 6 meters, then aft draft will be somewhere 6.5 meters. It would be down by stern. So I think this is a brief idea how you can go about, read a draft and help your chief mate with cargo calculation and many more things. You help second mate with determining the safety contour, safety depth and all. And yes, this would help you in every way. So now like you have basic idea how to read a draft, and I also have told which all places you can get the draft. But generally, basically the draft is taken from the forward and in the aft, port and starboard, depending on which side your vessel is alongside. If it is starboard side alongside, you take the draft from the starboard side. If your port side alongside, you take the draft from the port side. As I told, this is what trim and heel. You just don't have to know what trim and heel is. It's a topic which you'll study for second mates. Cargo calculation, as I told, it is also used to determine the amount of cargo you have on board and to ensure safety margin. Safety margin, as I told, safety contour, safety depth, shallow depth, which is all been calculated by the second mates to determine where your ship can safely navigate. I hope you like the video. I hope you now know how to read a draft. And for more such informative content, please join our Telegram channel, as we have pinned it in the pinned comment in the description box. Watch reels, right? Follow our Instagram page. We'll be sharing more such informative content with you, where you would be updated with latest shipping informations and some basic things that each and every seafarer should know. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we'll be sharing more such information and we'll be having more such interactive session. And please do subscribe. Thank you and have a nice day.